Couple of things today we need to do. One, masks allowed. You don't see through masks, right? So, one is something to be noted. There are people who think that these Upanishads are only meant for sannyasin, monks, renunciants, right? Wear the robes or so on and so forth, with robes or without robes. Meant only for renunciants, nuns, sannyasins and so on. Now, if you really look at the Upanishads, this theory is totally fake, because I can understand that monks studied it more because they got more time. If they are not up to any other mischief, they have a lot of time to study. Understand. But if you look at the Upanishads, every single Upanishad is either a discussion between two householders or a rishi and somebody else, of which both are householders. And great rishis who are all, none of them, you can't find a single sannyasin in the Upanishad, and this is the earliest text we have, 1,000 years ago. I'm not saying you should not take sannyas, please do if you feel good about it. But it doesn't apply to the Upanishad at all. Maybe people who take sannyas who are renunciant, they get more time on their hands, they don't have any family responsibilities. All that is true, but nowhere in the Upanishad you can find a single sannyasin. In starting 2000 years ago, starting with even the great Yajnavalkya, who appears in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In fact, Yajnavalkya goes one step ahead. He has two wives. In fact, one famous dialogue, I'm not saying we should have two wives to understand them. Yajnavalkya goes, in fact, there is an interesting dialogue which is important in the Upanishad, which is between Yajnavalkya and his wife, Maitri. He has two wives. One of them, he says, I'm going to the forest to meditate and learn, and one wife says, okay, fine. She might have thought, good riddance. So the other Maitri says, if you're going to the forest, I'm also coming with you. So, because I love you, so I'm coming with you. And then he describes what love is. When the wife says to the husband, I love you, it's only the self that you love, nothing else, and so on and so forth. So, don't worry about it. You don't have to become sannyasin. Also, you don't have to imitate Yajnavalkya. All married people will know that one is more than enough. You don't want two. So, also the wives will know that. Now, so that is one thing. The second is the qualification of a student who is studying the Upanishad. The only requirement is a qualification for a student in the Upanishad, according to the Upanishad, as a person whose mind is fresh, who is one-pointed in attention, dedicated to the learning, and is ready to learn. He or she, nobody wants to know where he comes from or what is his precedent, nothing is required. Although, as a matter of fact, in some Upanishads they say son of so-and-so, son and so on, but from the Upanishad it's clear that whoever was seriously interested, no matter who he was or what others, the public thought that he was was admitted into the learning circle. You need not be a special person. So, I want to go again back to a part of the Chandogya. Chapter 4, section 4. There is a story. It's a story of someone called Satyakama. Please remember, the name of the person referred to here is Satyakama, which means one whose only desire is to find the truth. Satya, Kama, his only desire is to find the truth. About such a person. So what I'm trying to say is that is the main qualification to study the Upanishad. That you have the desire to learn the truth only. The story of Satyakama. Satyakamo ha Jabalo Javadam Mataram Amantraya Chakre Brahmacharyam Bhavati Vivatsyami Kim Gotro Nav Aham Asmiti. One Nachiketas is coming soon. No, sorry, Satyakama. We'll wait for a minute till he gets in. We disappeared. Forgot. He doesn't know that we are... Yes, so Satyakama has... no, I'm not... Here. So you're studying the story of Satyakama, whose only desire is to find the truth. Then I found you come. I said, wait, Satyakama is coming. So, what happened? Once upon a time, Satyakama Jabala, full name, addressed his mother, Jabala. Why is he called Satyakama Jabala? Because he is the son of this lady called Jabala. So he is using his mother's name as his surname. The ladies, be happy. So, once upon a time, Satyakama Jabala addressed his mother, Jabala, and said, Mother, I desire to live the life of a brahmachari. Brahmacharya here. In the Upanishad, when you say brahmacharya, brahmachari means a student who is learning the text. That's what it means. Okay? Most brahmacharis then become grahastas. Then in the end, if they want, they take sannyas. Or they can remain householders. So he said, I desire to live the life of a student, to study sacred knowledge. So, if I go to a teacher, you have eye problem. No. Huh? Heat, hot, temperature. I thought you were saying if you have eye problem, wear mask. So anyway, sorry. Once upon a time, Satyakama Jabala addressed his mother Jabala and said, Mother, I desire to live the life of a student of sacred knowledge. Now he has to go and find a teacher, right? His mother is not a teacher of this truth. And if he goes to a teacher, to an ashram or a hermitage, the teacher, who would probably be a rishi, would ask him, "What family do you come? Who are you? Which family do you come from?" It's normal. Attendance register, who is your father? In attendance register, till today, has anybody asked, who is your mother? Who is your father? So Satyakama says to Jabala, "I want to be a brahmachari, oh mother. When I go, they will ask me, what family am I?" Sahainam Uvacha, she said to him, "I do not know, my child, what family you are. In my youth, when I went about a great deal as a maid servant, I got you." This is the sacred Upanishad, Chandogya. I swear by the Shruti. In my youth, she says to him, "I do not know, my child, what family you are. In my youth, when I went about a great deal as a maid servant, I got you." So can't say what gotra, which gotra. So, I do not know of what family you are. However, I am Jabala by name, and you are Satyakama by name. So, if anybody asks, you may speak of yourself as Satyakama Jabala. So, after hearing this, Satyakama goes to the great Rishi Gautama. Not Gautama Buddha, not to be mistaken. It was a common name at that time. Many people had Gautama. So he goes to Gautama, the Rishi, who has a lineage, who is the son of Haridrumat, and said, "I wish to become a student of sacred knowledge. May I become your pupil? Venerable Sir, will you accept me as your student?" Tamaho Vacha, he said to him, as usual he asked him, "What family are you?" Even today, if you go to rural Bihar, after you say your name as such and such, the first question will be, "Ka baradari ba?" Yeah. So he asked him, "What family are you, my dear?" He replied, honest, searching for the truth, so he has to be truthful. He didn't say, "Oh, I come from that family of this rishi, that rishi," nothing. He was searching for the truth and he said the truth. And he said, "I do not know, sir, what family I am. I asked my mother. She answered me, in my youth, when I went about a great deal as a maid servant, I got you. So, I do not know of what family." So she said, my mother said, "So I do not know of what family you are, Who is your father? I don't know. I am Jabala by name, she said, and you are Satyakama by name, so I am Satyakama Jabala, sir. Tamho vacha. He then said to him, none but a seeker of truth is a Brahmana. None like you would explain this so clearly. This is where it occurs, Brahmavid, Brahmaiva bhavati. He who looks for the Brahman is a Brahmana, nobody else. Others who are born in such a family may be called Brahmana bandhus, friends of Brahmanas. According to Manu. So he said to him, none but a seeker of truth, a Brahmana, could thus explain. So go bring the fuel, my dear. That means when the student went to the teacher, he took with him what called a Samvit Pani. Samvit Pani is 2 pieces of firewood, which is offered to the teacher. Enough, 2 pieces. Now we can't do anything with firewood. 2 pieces of firewood to be offered so that he may use it in his kitchen, in his dhuni or whatever he is using. Also 2, to symbolically show. There were no matchboxes then. When you lit a fire, 2 dry pieces of wood were rubbed and the spark fell and the spark lit the cotton and then it was used for havans. Said, go bring your fuel and come to me. It also means that you are going ready to spend all your fuel in the search for the truth and not waste it. There's no point in going to learn the truth after all your fuel is gone. At an young age he went. I receive you as a pupil. You have said the truth. I receive you as a pupil. Bring the fuel, my dear. Thou hast not departed from the truth. Having initiated him, he separated out 400 lean, weak cows and said to him, which means how many cows did he have? He separated 400 lean, weak cows and said, go with these, my dear. While taking them away, he said, I may not return without 1,000. He lived away a number of years till they became 1,000. The teacher initiated him. This go, it means wealth. Cow, wealth, everything is go. He gave him how many? 500? 400. Lean, weak cows and said, look after them and make them 1,000. When they are 1,000, come back to me. So he took the cows and went back only when they became 1,000. So, what is the meaning of this story of Satyakama Jabala from the Chandogya Upanishad? Then what happened? He lived with them till they multiplied, so must be several years till they became 1,000. Then he took cows, they have mentioned. They didn't mention a bull, right? But there obviously was a bull, otherwise they won't become 1,000. Athahainam rishabho abhyuvadaha. Then the bull spoke to him. One of the bulls who had saying, now the bull is also speaking. Satyakama. One day Satyakama went to feed water to the cows. When he was startled, he heard Satyakama. Who is calling me? The bull. Satyakama. He said, Reverend Sir. The bull said, now here you see this. A bull is talking to Satyakama. And what is Satyakama? Reverend Sir. The bull said, we have reached 1,000 numbers, my dear. So take us to the teacher's house back. He said, take us back to the teacher's house and let me declare to you a quarter, one quarter of what is Brahman. Tell me, Reverend Sir, he said. To him said the bull, the east is one quarter of the Brahman, the west is one quarter of the Brahman, the south is one quarter of the Brahman, the north is one quarter of the Brahman. This really, my dear, is Brahman's four-quartered front, which is called four-quartered foot, which is called the shining one. Which means that Brahman is here, there, here, and there. And there is no place where you turn where it does not exist. Who taught this? The bull. Taught it to a young boy who doesn't even know his ancestry, but who is truthful and respectful, so much so that even he replies to the bull saying, so be it, sir. He who, knowing it thus, meditates on this four-quartered foot of Brahman, named the shining, becomes shining in this world. And he wins the shining worlds. Who, knowing it thus, meditates on the four-quartered foot of the Brahman, named the shining, discovers the shining worlds. That means, wherever you turn, whatever creatures exist on this earth, from plants and herbs and grass to the highest, they're all part of that Supreme Brahman. When you recognize this and worship all the four quarters as none other than the Brahman, then you reach the front, which is called the shining front, which means your wisdom is growing and shining in you. So said the bull to the Rishabha, said to who? Satyakama. But it would not have told to somebody who is not Satyakama, whose desire is not for the truth. Right? Okay. Then he said, Agniste padam bhakteti. The fire will now declare to you about the other quarters of Brahman. I have said enough. He then, the next day, drove the cows on. And on the way they passed, it became evening. So he lighted a fire, penned the cows, laid on the fuel, and sat down to the west of the fire, facing the east. Suddenly he heard a voice, Satyakama. What the hell now? The fire was calling him. Satyakama? He replied, Reverend Sir. What would be a normal reaction if you're sitting in a lonely place, there's a fire lit, and the fire says, "Hey, Ramachandra," either you look for the best place to run or pour water on the fire. This is enough. First, the bull spoke. So the fire said, "Satyakama." He said, "Reverend sir, let me declare to you," said fire, "my dear, a quarter of the Brahman." "Tell me, Reverend sir," he said. To him it then said, now first the earth was divided into 4 quarters by the bull and described as the Brahman. Fire said, the earth is 1 quarter. The atmosphere is 1 quarter. The sky is 1 quarter. And the ocean is 1 quarter. This verily, my dear, is a Brahman's 4-quartered foot, named the endless. Its name is Nantavan Namaha. The name is that which does not, na anta. It doesn't end. Na antavan Namaha. Another aspect of the Brahman. One is it covers everything on this earth. Not only does it cover everything on this earth, it covers the earth and the biosphere and everything. And it is endless in nature. This is the one I described to you. He who, knowing it thus, meditates on this 4-quartered foot of Brahman as the endless, becomes endless in this world. Then he wins endless worlds. Who, knowing it thus, meditates on the 4-quartered foot of the Brahman is himself becomes endless. In India, in Sanskrit, these these wandering ascetics who refuse to wear any clothes, don't even wear a kaupin. The sense of our so-called society-born decency does not arise in them. In fact, somebody asked the great Mahavira, the last Tirthankara of the Jains, why do you not wear any clothes? He said, if I'm afraid of showing what I have to the human beings at large, where is my modesty? Opposite. He said, if I cannot discard my clothes, how can I discard my ego? I'm not saying you should, please. Then there won't be any Upanishad only. Upa. Somebody told me that we can have a retreat in Goa. I said, okay. That's lovely. We'll go to Goa, beautiful place. He said, the place we'll show you. So he took us there and walking near the sea and so on. But on the left side, I see a lot of people, no clothes. So I said, what happened? Yeah. He said, this is a nudist colony. Oh, I said, so here we'll have, yeah. So I said, I told him we'll only have open-eyed meditation here. Nobody will close their eyes. But however, the great sadhus, the great wanderers who do not wear any clothes at all, the Naga Babas and so on, they call themselves Digambaras. People also call them Digambaras. Now when you say Digambara, Dig is exactly what was described by the bull. Dig is direction. Left, north, south, east, west are the digs, the directions. So which means they are clad with the four directions. Ambara means to wear, be clad with Digambara. Yes, we are clad with the four directions of the earth. We don't need any other clothes. I haven't reached that yet, so don't worry. See any surprises. So, such a one who sees the Brahman, not only in this world but beyond, right up to the stellar system, when he understands this, he also understands that is not different from me. Satvamasi, you are that. Then he becomes free of all conditionings and becomes endless. For that, you can also wear clothes. Please don't mind. And then the fire told him, Hamsaste padam vakteti. Now a swan will tell you the rest about the Brahman. He then, when it became tomorrow, the next day, drove the cows on. And they came at the evening, he lighted a fire, penned the cows, laid on the fuel, and sat down to the west of the fire facing the east. Usually when we sit to meditate, we are told to sit on the west and face the east. It's something to do with the magnetic circuit of the earth. So he sat down. So now Satyakama is very careful. He doesn't know who's going to speak to him. It's evening time. He has penned the cows, he lit the fire, and sitting down before the fire facing the east, and saying, now who is speaking? Tam hamsa upanipatya bhivada. Then a swan flew down to him and said, Satyakama. He replied, Reverend Sir, have you read Ronald Dahl's Animal Farm? All the animals are speaking. That we have forgotten all that. We think only human beings speak. We've come to such a state today. It's not so. Everybody speaks. It's an old story of Solomon the king, the magnificent, who's supposed to know the language of other birds and animals. St. Francis Xavier was also supposed to know. So while the horses were galloping, Solomon said, stop. I said, why? He said, you see these ants going there? So big ants were going in a line. They are saying to themselves, here comes the wretched human beings. They will walk over us now. So he said, stop till they go. Ants also speak. And we don't notice, we don't feel it. When you walk on the grass also squeaks. But then we can't live, something we have to do, right? Have to be careful with everything. Everything, you may not know the language, but everything. Have you seen the sad eyes of a goat or a cow that has been beaten mercilessly? Have you seen it? It's saying something, you cannot hear it. So the swan flew down to him and said, Satyakama. Now he knew something is going to speak to him. So he said, Reverend Sir, And the swan said to him, "Let me declare to you, my dear, a quarter of the Brahman." I'll tell you about one more part of what Brahman is. Tell me, Reverend Sir. Now I'm beginning to wonder if the swan was a man or a woman. He keeps saying, "Reverend Sir." Okay, anyway. To him it then said, fire is 1/4, sun is 1/4, the moon is 1/4, that lightning is 1/4. This verily, my dear, is Brahman's 4/4 foot, named the luminous. So now it's describing, the swan is describing the luminous aspect of the universe, which is the Brahman. So what is the luminous one? What we see as luminous, sun, which means light, moon, light, the lightning, light, fire, light. So all that is illumined, prajnanam, all that is lit with illumination and consciousness, all the fire and the light that we see is Brahman. And if you can travel at the speed of light, you will know the Brahman, but we can't. Saya etam evam vidyamsya chatushkalam padam brahmano jyotishmaniti upaste. He who, knowing thus, meditates on this 4/4 foot of the Brahman as the luminous, becomes luminous in the world. Then he wins luminous worlds. Who, knowing it thus, meditates on the 4/4 foot of Brahman as the luminous. It's not ended there. Then the swan said to him, "A diver bird will tell you another quarter of the Brahman." He then, when it was morning, drove the cows on. See what amount of effort this poor Satyakama is taking. It's not a joke to gather all the 1,000 cows with their bulls and so on and take them. So again he travels on the morrow. He then comes to a place in the evening. He lights the fire. He pens the cows. Lays on the Agni and sits down to the west of the fire facing the east. A diver bird, a goose. In fact, in the Upanishad, it's called a goose. I think that is mud goose. So, a diver bird flew down to him and said, "Satyakama," maybe it had a smaller voice, I don't know. And he said, "Yes, sir. Let me declare to you, my dear, a quarter of the Brahman." You don't have to understand everything, okay? Just listen carefully. "Tell me, Reverend Sir," he said. To him it then said, "Breath is 1/4. The eye is 1/4. The ear is 1/4. And the mind is 1/4. Now this is the description of the Brahman in the human system. That was in the universe outside. This was in the inner universe as a human being. That description was the macrocosm. This description here is a microcosm. All that is in the macrocosm is there in this microcosm in a small way. So if you understand the microcosm, you can understand the macrocosm. If you understand the light here, you can understand the light there. So, the breath is 1/4 of the Brahman. Sorry. The eye is 1/4 of the Brahman. The ear is 1/4 of the Brahman. Quarter meaning not 1/4. A place where it is quarters. Quarters. Not quarter. Meaning where one stays, lives, quarters. Nursing quarters. Somebody think Brahman is divided into quarters. So 4 quarters are over now. Where are the other quarters? So, he who, knowing this, meditates on this 4/4 foot of the Brahman as possessing a support, comes to possess a support in this world. Then he wins worlds possessing a great support. Who, knowing it thus, meditates on the 4/4 foot of the Brahman, has a support. It means when nothing else is supporting you, the Brahman is your sole support. It is the one that supports the breath, the one that supports seeing, the one that supports hearing, is the one that supports mind. So, this entire support is the Brahman. So, if you understand this, then you are fully supported. You don't need any external support from anything or anybody. Then, finally, Satyakama returns to the teacher, to Gautama. After all his adventure, he must have grown older by then. 1,000 cows have been produced. So, prapa acharya kulam tam acharyo abhyuvadaha Satyakama iti. And he said, itiha, Bhagavan. Bhagavan means sir. Then he reached the teacher's house. The teacher said, all this while people were calling him Satyakama, all animals. Now the teacher said, Satyakama. He said, yes, Reverend Sir. And the teacher said to him, Brahmavid iva vai saumya bhashihi. My dear, you shine like one knowing the Brahman. Now you're shining like the one who has known the Brahman. You're shining like the light that is the Brahman. Who has taught you? Who taught you all this? How did you find the Brahman? Your face is shining. I see that you have learned about the Brahman. Who taught you? He replied, Sir, other than men. What a statement. No man taught me. Other than men, they taught me the Brahman. And now my face is shining. You say I have learned the Brahman. But no man, no human being taught me. But now I have a wish. What is that? But I wish, Reverend Sir, that you teach me. How nice it will be. Can you teach me? For I have heard from persons like you, Reverend Sir, that the knowledge which has been learned from a teacher, a human teacher, best helps one to attain to this end. To him, he then declared it. In it, nothing whatsoever was left out. Nothing was left out. He got the complete knowledge of the Brahman after coming back and learning from different sources other than men, from his own teacher Gautama, who finally taught him that what was missing. Shall we stop? No. That was a firm no. It sounded almost like the bull. Satyakama, oh yes, sir. Okay. Section 10. Now what happened? Upakoshala havai kamalayanaha Satyakame Jabale brahmacharyam ovasaha. Upakoshala, name, Upakoshala, the son of Kamala. Here we don't know if Kamala is a man or a woman. Upakoshala, the son of Kamala, the woman, Kamala, dwelt with Satyakama Jabala as a student of sacred wisdom together. He tended his fires for 12 years. Now this could be quite symbolic. He tended the fire of desire for the Supreme, the Nachiketa sacrifice, for 12 years. So don't be in a hurry. 12 years. What all Satyakama did for fellow, here again he is with this guy, tending his fires for 12 years. But the teacher, though he allowed other peoples to go, teacher allowed other pupils who thought they had learned the sacred wisdom to return to their homes. Did not allow him to depart. His wife of the teacher felt very bad. You have allowed everybody else to go. This fellow is left here. With motherly compassion, his wife said to him, this student of yours, of sacred wisdom, has performed his penance, his tapasya, and tended the fire so well. Let not the fires blame you. The fire is going to blame you. Give him the teaching. But he went off without teaching him. Then on account of sickness, grief, he resolved not to eat. So he was still left there, and the teacher turned away and went home. He didn't teach him, but he said, no, don't go, stay here. Then he fell ill and couldn't eat food. Not the teacher, the student. The teacher's wife said to him, O student of sacred wisdom, please eat. Why, may I ask, do you not eat? Then he said, many are the desires in this person which proceed in different directions. I am filled with grief. I will not eat. He decided to do nirahara. I am filled with the sickness of all desires that go in all directions. I shall not eat. Now, human beings couldn't do anything. Then the fires whispered among themselves. The fires which were tended, they whispered among themselves. They said, this student of sacred wisdom has performed his penance and tended as well. Let us teach him. Then they said to him, life is Brahman. The fires decided to take it upon themselves. Teacher went off. He wouldn't eat. The wife tried to make him eat. No, he said, I will not. Till all the desires are gone. And the fire said, now let us teach him. Poor fellow. They then said to him, life is Brahman. Joy is Brahman. Ether is Brahman. That means the sky, the air that you see is Brahman. Life that you see is Brahman. Joy that you see in Brahman. Then he said, I understand that life is Brahman. I can see it. You know, the word Brahman comes from the root bruh, which means to expand, ever expanding, like the ever expanding universe. It means expand. So he said that life is ever expanding. I understand this, life is Brahman. Okay. Then, but joy and ether I don't understand. I understand that life is Brahman. But you are saying Brahman is joy and ether. This I do not understand. They said to him, joy, verily, that is the same as ether. Ether and joy are not two different things. Ether, verily, is the same as joy. Then they explained to him life, what it is, and what is the ether, which means what Gautama was trying to teach Satyakama was this entire universe filled with life is Brahman. It's not different from it. Brahman is also the joy that we all seek. We don't know that it is the Brahman, but we all seek joy. It's a common factor. Who wants to seek pain? Nobody wants. Even if you seek pain, you think at the end of it, you will get some joy. Nobody wants. So the very fact that all living beings seek joy means that all living beings indirectly are seeking and moving towards the Brahman. Direction may be wrong, which needs to be corrected. And when you say ether here, they're using the word akasha, which means the all-pervading thing that you know exists but you cannot see. Sky is also called akasha, the wide expanse. And that Brahman, if you mistake that Brahman to be the little joys that you seek, no, it is the wide expanse of joy that you seek. It is the breaking free from all fetters and all conditionings that you seek. This is the Brahman. So, the fires explain this to him. So we'll stop with that. Chandogya is very long. We can't go do the whole Chandogya. So I'm taking bit by bit. Otherwise, 5 days we will be doing the Chandogya. Till the cows grow. Anyway, there are some jewels in it, so I'm just trying to pick up. next class. So when you, in the night, if you hear somebody saying, Satyakama, don't even see anybody say, yes, Reverend Sir.